So a few weeks ago I posted a video where I was going on an electric vehicle charging course for a new brand of electric vehicle charging point, a company called Andersen, a UK startup who are providing these really beautiful electric vehicle charging points designed to fit into people's houses where they just want something that looks nice and conceals the cable and just really works. So I had my first customer go ahead and order one of these about 12 weeks ago, and I put in the order with Andersen, but there's a long delivery time on these things, 12-week delivery time. For various reasons, I think they've got quite a backlog of orders because they're really popular, these charging points, but also it's a new company. They were just getting things shipped in from abroad, etc. So that's why there's such a long lead time. So finally, the charging point has arrived. So I'm going to unbox it for you. I'm going to show you, give you a tour of the charging point, and then I'm going to show you the installation, how I installed it, where I installed it, and I'll give you some feedback at the end of what I thought about it, if I think it's worth the money, if it's good, or if I won't be bothering installing any more of these in the future. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already, and enjoy the video. So this is the front plate. This is the finish that they call Cotswold Oak, which is a wooden finish. The actual wood itself is not really oak, but it's a special kind of wood that's designed to last a long time. So excellent quality, and they've got a lifetime guarantee on these, as well as the shelf itself. And it goes this way up. So basically you've got the cable entry position here, which you can either go rear entry, or there's a point here you can drill out to take the cable in from the bottom. Then you've got compression glands, and this bit here is completely sealed, so it's completely IP rated, no water can get in here to the connections. And you've obviously got the option of 3-phase or single phase, because this can go up to 22 kilowatt 3-phase. Then the charging cable itself, cord grip, and then the connectors go on there. And all the other gubbins is on the inside. This bag has all the accessories in that you need. So you've got the cord grip, screws, etc. You've got the cover plate for the connections. You've got this flap, which I'm not quite sure where that goes. Several cover plates. And the way this works is the charging point lid just flaps up like that, and then you uncoil the cable. And it's got these brushes, so it actually cleans the cable when you wind it up, and when you unwind it, it just winds around this. So the actual cover goes on the front like this, just rests on there, and fits snugly on, and then there's a couple of screws just to screw it down to hold it in place. On the back, you've got the mounting screws, so there's 4 screw positions here, 2 line the hole so you can already fit and level the screws and then just hang it on the wall, and then 2 at the bottom to hold it in place. Solidly built, and all in all, I believe this is a great quality product. I'm looking forward to actually installing it and seeing how the installation goes in real life. There is a DC fault current monitoring device inside, and there's a little reset button here, so if that trips, that will just reset that particular device. But according to the training that we had, basically we shouldn't need to open this up. Everything we need is here, so you've got our connections, incoming connections, outgoing, all the other gubbins taken care of. It's got a network socket in there, RG45 as well, so you can run a hardwired network connection to it, but it does have Wi-Fi capability as well. So if you've got good enough Wi-Fi signal, it can just be installed via the Wi-Fi network, and it is lockable by the app. So this is actually a magnetic lock, so it means that if in the app it's locked, you won't be able to lift this back up. Nobody will be able to actually unwind it and plug their car in, which is quite clever. And it's a smart charging point, so it's covered by the OLEV grant scheme, which means that customers can get up to £500 off their installation cost. So I'm going to go and fit this and let you know how I get on. So today's the day. Finally the Andersen arrived after 12 weeks of waiting, and it's the day of the install, so I'm going to give you a little tour of what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to be installing it, and show you how it all works. So the customer has asked us to put the charging point here on the wall, and as you can see it's quite a large sort of driveway, so they wanted it to be flexible enough to be able to install, to be able to plug in the car wherever they park their electric vehicle, because obviously they've got a few vehicles, only one of them's electric, so they're going to be shuffling up things a little bit. So we've got an 8.5 metre cable on this Andersen, which means that they can basically plug it in wherever they want. It's a solid paved driveway, there's no kind of soil that they're going to be in contact with earth or anything like that. Down this side we've got the electric meter. So it's a 100 amp supply, which is great, so we don't need to do any upgrading there. And the cable route, so the consumer unit is just inside here, basically in a cupboard in the kitchen. And then there's a living room behind here. So we're going to go through from the consumer unit down on the inside, run the cable along on the inside of this wall in trunking, and pop through and bring the cable out here for the charging point. So we've got the consumer unit here. It's a Contactum 1, and it's sort of a 16th edition, so main switch, several MCBs, and RCD to protect the sockets. You can see here there's one circuit that's turned off. That's an old cooker point that's no longer in use. It's a 50 amp circuit breaker. So what we're going to do is remove that circuit breaker and replace it with a new 32 amp one, and then we're going to run our circuit from here. Now, why are we not putting in an RCBO, I hear you ask? Well, I spoke with Andersen and they've been in communication with Nappit, and Nappit said that basically as long as the cable is clip direct, then you don't need RCD protection, because within the Andersen charging point it's actually got 30 milliamp AC and 6 milliamp DC protection, so it doesn't actually need a separate RCD to protect it, which is great. So I'm just going to swap that for an MCB, run a new circuit in. It's all going to be surface mounted in trunking, so it doesn't need to be RCD protected because it's not buried in a wall or anything. And yeah, that should make things a little bit more straightforward. But what I'm going to have to do is run from here through this cupboard, I think, into the corner here, down in the corner here in trunking, next to the boiler, and drill through the wall so that I come out on top of the skirting in the other room. I'll show you the other room now. So this is the other room, so we've got on the other side there, that's a boiler I showed you. Consumer unit is about up here somewhere. So what we're going to try and do is come down on the other side of the wall to just above the skirting level, drill through there, then run the cable in trunking all the way along the skirting to this corner, along the skirting to about here, and then I'm going to try and drill down at an angle from the charging point and pop out just above the skirting. That's going to be the tricky part because it's quite a tight angle there, so I might have to do a little bit of tricks to get that at the right angle, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got the cover off the consumer unit, and it's an absolute bird's nest of a consumer unit. As you can see, it's pretty jam-packed with cables, so it's going to make it a little bit tight to run the cables in, but we'll make the best of it. Looks like they've just added and added circuits over and over again over the years, and it's just become more and more tight, but I think they've left a bit too much length in those conductors as well. But this is the old cooker circuit that's not used, so I might just take that out, cut the cable off that, and at least that'll make a little bit more room. Now it is a PME system, so TNCS, Protective Multiple Earthed Installation. We call it PME, which means TNCS. And so there is an issue here which a lot of installers come across, which is if in the event of a pen fault, which is basically where the supplier's neutral and earth conductor drops out, the casing of the vehicle could become live under fault conditions. And so the recommendation is to have some kind of device built into the charging point which detects a pen fault and then cuts off the power to the vehicle in the event of a pen fault. If you don't have that, then you have to install an earth electrode for the charging point only, but then you've got lots of complications, like for example you have to do a simultaneous contact assessment, which is where you have to check to make sure that there would be no other earthed points connected to the PME earth of the property. So for example here you've got this oil pipe here which is bonded back to the PME earth, the main earth for the house. You've got light fittings, for example, probably connected to the PME earth, and so in that case you can't install a earth electrode for the vehicle charging point only, because there would be simultaneous contact possible between the two earthing systems, which is not safe. So what you have to do then is convert the whole installation to a TT system. So install an earth rod for the main installation, but in this case that would mean we would have to change the consumer unit, put RCD protection in for all the circuits. That makes it a lot more complicated job than the customer originally anticipated. The other way is to remove the simultaneous contact possibility. So for example, box in these pipes, these oil pipes, to make sure that they can't be touched at the same time as the vehicle. Change the light fitting to a class 2 light fitting, for example, so that there's no simultaneous contact possible between the PME earth and the TT earth. Yeah, you can see how this can get quite complicated, but fortunately the Andersen charging points don't need an earth rod because they do have a pen fault detection device within them, so that saves a huge amount of hassle, and I think that's the way it's going to be going forward now with all charging points. They're all going to have this because it's the only way to avoid a lot of hassle. No, I'm sorry, I don't mean to gloat, but how about that for some accurate drilling? Seriously, it was 50 centimetres up and 40 centimetres across from the wall. I managed to calculate the angle by just measuring off from the wall, getting the angle right, drill down at an angle, boom, exactly on top of the skirting, just where I needed it. So I'm dead chuffed with that. So now all I need to do is run the trunking along into the corner, and then along here, into that corner, pop through, up on the other side, into the consumer unit. That is the hard bit done. So just to show you how I actually measured this, right? What you can do with a long drill bit, which is really the advantage of having long drill bits, is that you can measure two distances. You measure the depth that you want to go. So in this case it was 50 centimetres, which is exactly the length of my ruler. And then the thickness of the wall, which in this case was 32 centimetres. Yeah? And what you do is measure up from the hole 50 centimetres, across from the wall 32 centimetres, and that is where the drill bit should be when I'm starting and that's the line that I should go. So it's quite easy to do. You've just got to measure well and have confidence, and it generally works almost spot on. As you can see how it worked today, it's absolutely perfect. So measure twice, drill once, as they say. It really does save a lot of faffing around and hassle. So if I take this out now, you can see the angle on that. It's quite a steep angle, but I managed to get right down and exactly above the skirting, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'm dead chuffed. So I've drilled through this corner now, and that's come out exactly behind the boiler, just to the side of the boiler, ready to run up. So I've just done it in a small 10mm hole first, and now I'm going to use this larger 20mm drill just to widen it up, big enough for the 6mm twin and earth. So there's a little trick that one electrician taught me when doing trunking, which is just to put a little bead of silicone in the corner, because when you've got the little line it just shows up more. If you just bead it with some white silicone all the way along and seal around the little holes and stuff like that, it looks a lot nicer, a lot smarter, and obviously helps it to stay stuck to the wall as well. And also you can still get the lid off, so it's not an issue with getting the lid off or anything like that, but it just looks a lot neater. So I'm just going to bead that up now with a bit of silicone, and then I'll be done. So I've just done that now. I've just run silicone all the way along the top corner there, and it just helps to make it sort of blend in a bit more. So I've just run that all the way around, and I've run the trunking a bit longer just to the radiator, just so that it matches all the way around, because if you end it, sometimes it looks a bit odd. It's better to actually just continue it all the way, and so it looks like it's meant to be there. Yeah, just a little bead of white silicone, and then I go over it with a big wipe just to get off the excess, or a wet finger, although some people use these nice little tools for siliconing. I've never got myself a set personally, but I probably should do at some point. But yeah, big wipes and a finger also do the trick. So just doing a R1 and R2 test. So I've linked out the live and earth at the other end, and I've just done a test and I've got 0.09 ohms there, so that's quite a good reading. So I've connected this up now and put in this new Contactum B32 MCB, removed the old cooker cable that was in there and replaced it with the new circuit for the electric vehicle charging point. So I've livened that up now, and I've just got a ZS reading of 0.18, which is excellent. The R1 and R2 was 0.09, and the ZE was 0.09, so that's exactly right. So excellent readings there. So here it is, the finished product. The Andersen A2 all installed. This is the Cotswold oak finish, and I think it looks rather nice. So I'm going to show you how it works. There's this flap here, which is a magnetic flap which can be lockable via the app, and then everything is holstered inside, and you just literally unwind it like that. This one's got an 8.5 meter cable in, so you can just unwind it like that and then plug it into your vehicle. Simple as. And it's all controllable via the Connect app that Andersen have created. So yeah, overall I'm really pleased with the look. I think it looks excellent, really smart. It's nice to be able to just hide the cable away like that, and it's perfect for situations where the customer cares about aesthetics and they don't want an ugly old Rolex box on the outside of their house. This is the perfect solution, I've got to say. Excellent quality, and to be honest, they're not that much more expensive than the Rolex units anyway, really. So it's just kind of a no-brainer, really. I think I'm going to try and install these as much as I can because they're just so much better than anything else that's out there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. So what can I say about the Andersen EV charging points? Well, overall I'm really happy with the Andersen A2 that I installed today. It looked great, it was easy to install, certainly installing the cabling, the connections, all of that was super easy. And the customer's really happy with the end result, so I'm over the moon. Were there any improvements that I could suggest or things that I struggled with a little bit? Well, I would say one or two things. Mainly, there was a lack of instructions. So there were no instructions in the box at all. And although there was some kind of support page on their website, it wasn't very clear. So I ended up having to phone the technical helpline several times to just get the app connected to the charging point, get it connected to the Wi-Fi, and all those kind of connectivity issues were the only problem that I really had. So I would say that probably a little bit of improvement in the instructions wouldn't go amiss, but Andersen's quite a new company. They're still learning. Of course, there's going to be some teething problems. The most important thing is the quality of the product, and that was really good. The functionality of the app was quite basic, but at the end of the day you don't want anything too complicated because it just gets confusing. And the nice thing about it was you can input your cost per kilowatt hour for your electricity, and it tells you how long it's been charging for, how much that charge has cost you, and the kilowatt rate at which you're charging. So I plugged the e-Golf in and it was charging at 3.16 kilowatts. So it wasn't using the full 7 kilowatts of the charging point, but I think that's a restriction on the car rather than the actual charging point itself or the installation. It's not actually an e-Golf, it was a Golf GTE, which is a hybrid, and so obviously it's got some kind of restriction there on the charging within the vehicle itself. So overall, will I be installing more Andersen charging points? And the answer is a massive yes. I will be recommending them to my customers because the build quality is excellent and they just look so nice. I will be pushing these more and more. I'm going to try and do less Rolex installations because I've had a lot of negative feedback about Rolex charging points from different people recently. So Andersen's where I'm going to be pushing it. Of course, they are a little bit more expensive, so not everyone's going to be able to afford them. But for people who want a really quality installation that's going to last, Andersen is definitely the way forward, and the aesthetics of it are just miles better than anything else that's out there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We post here every week, so you get more regular electrical videos, updates, and information about electric vehicle charging and other electrical industry issues. and smash the notification bell so that you get notified every time a new video comes out. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.